Today, we're going to talk about joint venture waterfalls. First, I'm going to give you a little introduction and then talk about kind of the assumptions that go into the waterfall. And then if we have time, we'll get into the model. Okay, so what is a joint venture waterfall? Well, a joint venture brings together two different groups, those with money and those with expertise, in our situation with real estate expertise. The general partner or the sponsor is the active investor, and because it's active, it has a lot of liability, and so the goal is to partner with a passive investor so that they don't have to put up that much capital when investing in real estate. The waterfall payout structure aligns incentives of the sponsor and the investor. For the general partner, the problem is that they've got little money invested with all the control, and just the opposite, the limited partner has a lot of money invested with little control. So the payout scheme incentivizes the general partner to perform well by allowing it to only do well if the limited partner does well. Okay, so here's an example of an asset that I've done a lot of research on recently. We're going to assume a purchase price of $125 million upon entry. This is a Class A multifamily asset in the San Francisco Bay Area. Given the exit cap rate of 4.5 and disposition at operating income of 8.1 million, we're suggesting that we can sell the asset at 181 million. So net proceeds for investors is going to be 119 million. And since we established a loan to value of 60%, the equity commitment is going to be 50 million. Okay, so a little bit more into the assumptions. So the sponsor, which would be us, would put up $5 million, and the investors, or the limited partner, the passive investor, would put up 45 million. During the holding period, there's going to be preferred paid returns on the contributed capital at 5%. And then anything that's unpaid below that amount will gain a 2% interest accrual throughout the period. And then once the asset is sold, then there's different tiers to reward the investor, the sponsor investor, based on superior performance. So tier one, all capital will be returned. Tier two, there'll be repayment of any preferred returns not paid during the holding period. In tier three, there will be a hurdle rate at 8%, in which the investor is paid 90% of that and the sponsor is paid 10% of that. And then in tier four is where the sponsor is rewarded disproportionately by getting 20% of any returns in excess of 8%, and the investor gets 80%. And then in tier five, to further reward the sponsor, the remaining cash is split 50-50. So here is kind of a payout chart, you could say, of kind of showing the superior performance reward that the sponsor gets. In our situation, with all the sales and after paid returns, the sponsor gets a return of 16%, and the investor gets a return of 11%, which is still above the 8% return, which aligns with core Class A properties. So here we'll get into the model. During the holding period, the preferred paid return is supposed to be 2.5 million. If they don't create that much cash flow after debt services, then there's an accumulated unpaid preferred return amount at the end of this holding period. In this situation, that is 7.1 million that needs to be paid out. So after tier one, we return the capital, which is 50 million. At the end of this tier, we've got 69 million left. So we're good to go for the next one. We pay off the preferred returns, which is 7.1 million, and we still have excess cash. Here, we pay off 17.6 million more to get the required cash flow for an 8% return of 74.8 million. And then we still have cash left over, 44 million to distribute. Tier four, so a return of 12% cash flow would require 113.9 million. And so we'd have to pay out in this tier 39 million more. And at the end of this payment, after the sponsors already started to get rewarded, we still have 5 million or $5.1 million left over. So we move forward into tier 5, and that remainder is split up 50-50, 2.5, 2.6 million each. And that's a waterfall schedule. Just to reiterate, the sponsor gets a return of 16% in this situation because it's rewarded for its positive performance, and the investor gets a return of 11%.